Why did the Alchemists kidnap Geppetto? From a meta-storytelling perspective, it makes a lot of sense. It raises the stakes for the last act, it gets Geppetto and his puppet where they need to be, and it makes a neat and creative little parallel to him being swallowed by the terrible dogfish in the original, to have him kidnapped by someone with Sea Monster as their middle name, and whose cult writes scripture about him swallowing God. But from an in-universe perspective, it's a huge strategic blunder. I can absolutely understand wanting to take Geppetto off the board. He's a wild card and he's probably the most dangerous man in Krot. But there's probably better ways to go about this than to bring him to your secret island, making it logistically easier to mess with you, and attracting the biggest threat to your plot, to your location. They almost certainly do not need Geppetto's puppet for their plan because they actually fight tooth and nail to keep him away. And also, they kick it off before he arrives. Geppetto had the arm of God at some point, but they've already taken it back, as you find the letter saying as much and can talk to Geppetto about it before the raid on the hotel. So that's out. They had the arm of God, plenty of ergo coming in thanks to their giant vacuum, and no need for Geppetto's puppet. So it seems the only thing they needed at this point to win was time. The ideal move is to kidnap Geppetto and take him as far away from your island as possible. This would likely attract his puppet's attention away from you, with the added bonus of keeping him away from your stuff. Stall, and take them on when you fully hatch as a new god, not in your cocoon form. Kidnapping and bringing Geppetto to the island is a fatally stupid move given the situation. And honestly, you don't get to where the alchemists are by being this dumb. There is likely a good reason for doing this, but the game doesn't give it to us outright. So let's look at a few speculative reasons. Simon Pistris Manus is obsessed with honesty. So much so that he murdered and did heinous experiments on a bunch of people to try to become a god to make a world without lies. Maybe in the aftermath of the Rose Estate incident, Simon promised he would bring Carlo back to Geppetto when he became a god. Then, in his OCD for telling the truth, he went to extreme measures to make sure he could follow through when the time came by bringing everyone to him. This is the most boring answer in my opinion, but it's simple and fits with Simon's character to jeopardize the mission just to avoid being made a liar. There are some odd details in Geppetto's kidnapping. Why does Geppetto have the key to the door outside of his cell? Why was "don't hurt him" part of the instructions? Why is Geppetto the biggest beneficiary of his own kidnapping? Maybe Geppetto found a way to organize his own kidnapping. Honestly, this one falls apart immediately under scrutiny, but it's a fun theory. My favorite and, in my opinion, most likely explanation is that they needed something from him. A puppet. Simon is obsessed with Sophia and her power, and has her locked up in his tower. Unfortunately, her physical form isn't in great shape after using it constantly, and she isn't long for this world as her body is coming undone. It makes sense that Simon would have noticed her condition, and so attempted to forcefully commission a new body for her, to save the listener, and continue to keep her captive. This would solve the mystery of where her puppet body comes from in the Rise of P ending, and also provides a possible explanation to how he got his nameless puppet murder box onto the island with him, as his kidnappers would have allowed him to bring his tools. Again, this is mostly speculation for now. Maybe something will come up in the upcoming DLC that will give us a more definitive answer. Until then, what do you think? Is there a reason the alchemists risked it all to kidnap Geppetto and bring him to the island? Or did they just overdose while mainlining hubris and stupidity?